feeling like your routine needs a bit of reimagining. You shared this rather adventurous little book with us, Sex Games. And wow, it's just packed with ideas.
It really is, yeah. A lot to unpack there.
Seriously. So this deep dive, we're exploring the sheer variety of suggestions in sex games.
Exactly. You were curious about, how to inject some novelty, some excitement into your intimate life.
Right.
In this book, it definitely offers a huge range of possibilities. Some are playful, some are much more intense.
And in all sorts of different locations and scenarios, too.
Completely. Different settings, different kinds of interactions.
So you wanted to shake things up. And yeah, this book certainly gives options. We're going to dive into some of the more maybe unique or intriguing games it talks about. And just to be clear, our goal isn't to go through every single detail or, tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do.
No, absolutely not.
It's more about understanding the core ideas behind these suggestions. Maybe spark some creative thinking for you, the listener.
Yeah, what's interesting is how the book really focuses on creativity and intimacy, like how you can use location or structured play or different sensory inputs to deliberately create new kinds of experiences. So we'll touch on a few examples, across different categories, just to give a feel for the book's overall approach.
Okay, sounds good. Let's unpack this, starting with location-based adventures.
Right.
The book really encourages thinking outside the bedroom.
It really does.
And one that kind of jumped out at me was stair climber, which is obviously more than just getting from floor A to floor B here.
Yeah, definitely. What's interesting about stair climber is how it uses the actual structure of the stairs to build anticipation and maybe even explore some power dynamics.
Yeah.
There's one version where the person who's sort of in charge playfully holds their partner back on the stairs, maybe taking off clothes piece by piece as they go up.
Okay. So it's a teasing buildup.
Exactly. A buildup before things get more intimate. The key takeaway, I think, is how a familiar space, like your staircase, can be used to create this really structured experience. Teasing, control.
Okay, but then there's a hot and spicy version, right?
Yeah.
Which sounds like it flips that dynamic.
Totally flips it. In that one, the stair climber is the one receiving attention.
Right.
They're unclothed on the steps and their partner starts, down at their feet and slowly works their way up, exploring as they go.
So the stairs become this framework for a sensual journey almost.
Yeah, a built-in path. And the up the ante suggestions, they push it even further.
Like what?
Like trying it with backsides facing.
Yeah.
Which adds this element of vulnerability,
Oh, interesting.
Or adding a blindfold and using feathers and oil.
Yeah.
Really intensifying the touch aspect.
Oh, so it really shows how just changing the setting can massively alter the feel of things.
Absolutely. The novelty of the place itself can heighten everything, that sense of adventure. The book even suggests moving it to the laundry room.
The laundry room? Why?
Vibrations. Apparently it adds a unique element.
Huh. Okay, or what? A pool table finish?
Or pool table finish, yeah. Unexpected, right?
It's definitely unexpected. Okay, so from stairs and laundry rooms to the pool, poolside pussy. Now, most people think swimming, splashing, this is a different kind of water activity.
It is. And what's neat here is the contrast again.
Yeah.
You've got the sweet and safe.
Yeah, okay.
Which is like a sensual version of Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Using moans instead of shouts to find each other for a kiss or maybe some underwater touching.
The playful.
Very playful. But then the hot and spicy involves actual intercourse in the pool.
Right. How does that work logistically?
Well, they suggest using the pool wall for support in the shallow end or the ladder. Or even straddling a partner who's kneeling on the steps. The core idea is just using that water environment to add this, unique, maybe slightly risky dimension.
And the up the ante ideas, they definitely raise the stakes, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Public suit removal.
Whoa.
Edge of pool, oral, and even making love on a float.
On a float? That sounds challenging.
Challenging for balance and discretion, for sure. Which adds that extra layer of excitement, right?
Yeah, it really highlights how that unexpected element, maybe a touch of the forbidden, can really amp things up for some people.
But that brings up a good point, right, for the listener. It's all about your own comfort levels, your boundaries.
Totally.
What's thrilling for one person might just be stressful for another. The book just puts these out there as possibilities. It's up to you to see what, if anything, resonates.
Absolutely crucial point. Okay, another location. This one might bring back memories, maybe. Playing on the playground.
Childhood revisited.
But differently.
With a very grown-up twist.
Yeah, what's intriguing here is that contrast again, innocence and sexuality bumping up against each other.
Well, the sweet and safe involves things like sliding naked or playing hide and seek, tapping into that playful, maybe childlike freedom.
Okay, I can see that.
But then you get the hot and spicy stuff,
right?
Like straddling on the swings or getting intimate inside a tunnel slide.
Oh, wow.
Or even using the monkey bars for a pretty direct face-level encounter.
Right, so it's taking these really familiar innocent settings and just reimagining them for adults.
Exactly, and the up the ante for the playground gets pretty wild.
Does it?
Tying someone to the ladder rungs.
Okay.
Which adds vulnerability, new angles.
Yeah.
Or oral sex on a swing.
Yeah.
Then it escalates to trampolines, tree houses, even bunk beds.
It's like the book is just constantly prompting you and think about familiar spaces in totally new ways.
That's the core of it. Taking places that might feel ordinary and injecting them with adventure, with erotic possibility. The playground becomes this backdrop for adult exploration.
Okay, shifting gears a bit, something maybe more. Clandestine. Restroom rendezvous.
Ah, yes. The thrill of the quick, secret encounter.
What's the appeal there, according to the book?
It seems to be about the risk, mostly. And the urgency that risk creates.
Right, that might get caught feeling.
Exactly. So the sweet and safe version, in the women's room, involves the man standing on the toilet seat for oral.
Okay. Logistics.
And the hot and spicy, in the men's room, has the woman standing on the toilet seat, 1 foot raised, for easier access. Speed and discretion are key.
It highlights how that element of surprise, that potential for discovery, can really heighten excitement for some people.
And the up the ante is basically just more public restrooms.
Like where?
Porta potties, bars, clubs, airports. It's all about pushing those boundaries of where intimacy can happen, even if it's super brief and has that thrill.
Yeah, that perceived risk, really dialing up the senses.
For some individuals, definitely.
Okay, and last one in our location tour. The legendary Mile High Club.
Ah, the infamous one.
A bucket list item for some, maybe. That sense of daring.
Yeah, and it's interesting how it mixes that fantasy element with the very real practical limits of being on an airplane.
Right, it's not exactly spacious or private.
Not at all. So the sweet and safe acknowledges that. It suggests things like in-seat foreplay under a blanket, or maybe mutual oral, again, with blanket cover.
Keeping it subtle.
Trying to. Then the hot and spicy moves it to the restroom, with various positions described: leaning on the sink, sitting on the sink, foot on the toilet, sitting facing the door.
Wow, okay. Sounds cramped.
Very. The key seems to be speed and trying to be quiet. The book even gives you a cover story if you get caught.
Handy. And the up the ante here actually links to another game.
It does. It links to Flirty Flight Attendant, suggesting you could do that role play scenario after you land. Shows how ideas can build on each other.
Cool. So one thing leads to another.
Extends the playfulness, yeah.
Okay, fascinating stuff on locations. Let's switch gears now. Let's talk about the game-based interactions.
Right, using actual games as a structure.
Exactly. Strip poker is obviously a classic, but this book seems to give it a more intentionally sensual twist.
Yeah, I think what's interesting here is how it frames undressing itself as this kind of extended foreplay. Adds anticipation, adds those playful power dynamics.
Yeah.
So in the sweet and safe, the winner gets to say which clothing item comes off.
Okay.
And maybe how they want to be, pleasured, but with limits on the type of touch, potentially.
Gotcha. And hot and spicy.
Escalates it. The winner commands both the removal and a specific act of service.
Ooh, okay.
And it could even lead into a fantasy role play. Like the card shark decides how the gambler pays their debt.
So using a familiar game, but adapting it for sexual tension and structured play?
That's the idea. And the up the ante. Pretty straightforward.
What is it?
A group game.
Ah.
Though the book does add a little note, about setting boundaries unless everyone's definitely cool with partner swapping.
Good caveat. So it's about the chance, the stakes of undressing, and adding more people just amps that up.
Potentially, yeah. It complicates it, intensifies it for some.
Okay, another game. Naughty nap time. This sounds intriguing. Uses scent and sensory stuff.
Yeah, sensory deprivation almost.
Yeah.
What's cool here is the anticipation it builds.
How?
There's a scented note involved first. And then the rule is, once the nap starts, no touching allowed, no opening your eyes.
Okay, builds tension.
Big time. So sweet and safe involves a blindfold, being undressed, and then just gentle touch leading to orgasm. Really focusing on suggestion, touch, when other senses are dulled.
Right. And hot and spicy.
Uses scented lotion for a massage, building up to manual or digital stimulation for orgasm.
Okay. And the up the ante?
Introduces something called the Venus butterfly technique.
Which is?
A specific way of stimulating the clitoris and vagina simultaneously, just expanding that tactile experience.
So this game really drills down on how restricting some senses can make others, like touch and smell, way more powerful.
Exactly. Enhances pleasure that way.
Okay, last one in this game section. Make me your own sundae. Sounds messy, but fun.
Definitely playful. It's all about using the body as like a canvas and food as a sensual tool.
Okay.
So sweet and safe is playful feeding, maybe licking trails of chocolate or caramel off each other.
Cute.
Yeah. Hot and spicy adds commands. And more direct sexual uses, whipped cream on the clitoris.
Wow.
Or masturbation with a banana.
Okay. So it's really about sensual play, engaging taste, touch, sight, breaking down inhibitions, maybe?
I think so, yeah. Around the body, around pleasure. And the up the ante includes hiding a cherry somewhere for a sensual search.
A scavenger hunt.
Yeah. The whipped cream thing we mentioned, and that pretty direct suggestion about using a banana for masturbation and then eating it.
Okay. Definitely playful exploration. Pushing past self-consciousness.
It really taps into that primal link between food and pleasure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's this fun, messy element that can be quite freeing.
For sure. Okay, wow. Let's move into the next category, sensory and role-playing explorations.
All right.
First up, Blue Velvet, which sounds like it's all about touch and texture.
Exactly. Often overlooked, right? This game deliberately uses different soft fabrics to heighten sensitivity all over.
How does that work?
The sweet and safe is just gentle caresses with different textures, velvet, silk, fur. But initially avoiding the genitals to build that overall awareness first.
Ah, okay. Build anticipation.
Right. Then hot and spicy turns it into a guessing game.
Guessing the fabric.
Yeah, blindfolded. And there's a reward or punishment, maybe a kiss, maybe a drip of ice water, depending if you guess right. Adds a playful consequence.
So focusing on one sense, varying the input, creates new ways to feel aroused.
That's the idea. And the, up the ante for this one involves being tied up with fabric and trying to reach orgasm just through the touch of different materials.
Wow, just touch.
Really emphasizing how powerful pure tactile stimulation can be, how intensely focusing on one sense can unlock new things.
Okay. Next, horny on line 1. Phone sex, basically. Exploring voice and imagination.
The core of it, as described here, is really the narrative, the description, actively using imagination.
So sweet and safe is?
More suggestive descriptions, maybe self-touch while making sound effects for your partner.
Okay. And hot and spicy?
That involves directing your partner's self-stimulation.
Yeah.
Using really vivid descriptions, maybe incorporating vibrator sounds over the phone.
Right. It shows that intimacy doesn't always need physical presence, right? Words in fantasy can be incredibly powerful.
Totally. And the up the ante just dives deeper into exploring specific fantasies, pushing verbal boundaries, shows how limitless imagination is.
Language itself as a tool for arousal.
Absolutely.
Okay, then we have Peppermint Tingler, using mint for a zing.
Yeah, that surprising sensation. It's intriguing how that coolness, that tingling, can actually amplify other physical sensations.
How's it used?
Sweet and safe just suggests using Altoids during oral sex for a subtle cooling effect.
Simple enough.
Then hot and spicy uses peppermint schnapps or mouthwash, dripped during oral, including on the backside.
Whoa, okay.
And the up the ante adds optional ice for an extra jolt. It's just about introducing a novel sensation that can intensify things.
Sounds like it would definitely add a surprising tingle. The book warns about being careful with liqueur near sensitive spots, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Crucial safety note. It's about a novel experience, potentially intense, so communication and caution are vital.
Got it. Okay, moving to something maybe more romantic. Bed of flowers, visuals, scent.
Yeah, this one has a lovely, almost ritualistic feel, using flowers.
So sweet and safe.
Involves disrobing onto a bed covered in petals.
Yeah.
Then gently brushing each other with the flowers.
Nice.
Hot and spicy adds honey, calling it nectar to be licked off. Engages taste and touch along with the floral scent. And the up the ante is hiding petals in intimate places for the partner to find. Another scavenger hunt.
That sounds really beautiful, actually. Combining the look and smell of flowers with touch. Very evocative.
It really is. Engages multiple senses, creates a unique atmosphere, highlights how the environment and all those sensory details really add to the experience.
Definitely. Okay, now let's get into some specific role-playing scenarios. We've got flirty flight attendant,
Right. Playing on that authority service dynamic
No.
taps into common fantasies there.
So how does the play go?
Sweet and safe, builds tension with playful teasing, maybe inappropriate advances from the passenger, leads to a sort of mock restraint by the attendant, who then takes control.
Okay. And hot and spicy.
Escalates the bossiness, more physical teasing, maybe some forced passion within the role play.
Right.
And the up the ante introduces a struggle, maybe even a role reversal, adds another dynamic layer. Role-playing like this lets people explore different sides of desire, control, but in a safe, agreed-upon way.
Yeah, taps into that forbidden scenario allure, the power interplay.
Exactly. A temporary exploration of different identities, different power dynamics within the game's framework.
Okay, similar vein, maybe. Horny housemaid, themes of service, surprise.
Yeah, the appeal seems to be that element of surprise, the shift in dynamic from servant to something else.
How does it play out?
Sweet and Safe has two options. Either a slow, suggestive striptease while cleaning, or just a sudden, playful pounce. Hot and Spicy builds through suggestive cleaning, offers a special attention, maybe leading to the maid taking over masturbation.
Okay, and up the ante.
Brings in another game called Masturbating Maid, with some tying and teasing involved. It highlights how breaking expected roles, that surprise element, can be really arousing.
The seemingly innocent turning sensual and unexpected.
Precisely. That contrast between mundane and erotic can be a big turn-on.
Okay, then there's Pirate and Captive Maiden. Classic swashbuckling stuff.
Yeah, leans right into those established, often romanticized, sometimes more forceful pirate stories.
So sweet and safe.
As the pirate protecting the maiden, but secretly pleasuring her on the side.
Ah, the protector.
Right. Hot and Spicy embraces a more dominant, forceful kind of encounter, fitting the stereotype. And the Up the Ante suggests a full sex-slave variation, pushing that power dynamic further.
So it uses these established stories as a base for erotic play, exploring protection, dominance.
Exactly. Both protector instincts and maybe more dominant or submissive roles, all within that familiar fantasy structure. Shows how narratives can be a starting point for imaginative play.
Makes sense. Following that, maybe more direct, mistress or master and sex slave.
Yeah, this one is explicitly about control and submission. Power exchange.
How's it structured?
Sweet and Safe has the dominant partner simply ordering the submissive partner to experience pleasure.
Okay.
Hot and Spicy involves a role reversal, maybe using restraints, forced actions within the agreed scene. And Up the Ante pushes things towards public acts.
So it's a very direct engagement with these dynamics, clear roles, exploring giving and receiving control.
Right. Assuming, and this is key for all role play, but especially here, clear communication, enthusiastic consent, and respecting boundaries within that agreed framework are absolutely paramount.
Crucial. Okay, porn star and director. Staged eroticism, performance.
Yeah, this allows for that playful exploration of fantasy, maybe exhibitionism.
How does it work?
Sweet and Safe could be just sensual posing, taking photos like a photo shoot. Hot and Spicy escalates to actually acting out fantasies using props, toys. And the Up the Ante suggests actually making a little movie together. It's about taking on personas, creating an erotic performance for each other.
Stepping into roles, creating a shared experience through that performance lens.
Yeah, can be a fun way to explore and act out maybe hidden desires, but in a low-stakes, playful way.
Right. Okay, last role play example. Farm Girl in the Hay. More innocent but naughty rural fantasy.
Exactly. Plays on that trope, you know, the innocent in a rural setting discovering sexuality.
So sweet and safe.
Has the virgin farm girl needing instruction from her partner. Hot and Spicy flips it. The naughty milkmaid takes the lead with a maybe shyer partner. And the Up the Ante introduces a shy to vixen transformation during the scene. That's another layer.
So playfully exploring innocence versus experience, different levels of confidence within that specific setting.
Precisely. Can be a lighthearted way to explore different facets of sexual expression.
Okay, wow. That's a lot of role play variety. Now, the book also briefly mentions partner configurations beyond just two people.
It does, yeah. Just touches on it. It mentions games like Oreo Cookie and You're the Filling.
Which is?
2 man, 1 woman. And Merry-Go-Round, which is 2 women, 1 man, or could be the other way around.
So what's the point of mentioning those?
I think it's just to show the book acknowledges and includes possibilities for intimacy involving more than 2 people.
Right.
Highlighting a broader scope, basically. Assuming, of course, everyone involved is comfortable, consenting, communicating clearly, it brings in different dynamics, different communication challenges, too.
Definitely more complex. Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive into sex games, I mean, it's clear this book is huge, an extensive collection of ideas.
Truly is.
From simple location changes to really involved role-playing, even thinking about multiple partners. We've barely scratched the surface, really.
Not even close.
But hopefully people listening have gotten a good sense of just the sheer variety and creativity it offers.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you, the listener, were curious about adding novelty. This book is definitely a rich source for inspiration. And just understanding the core ideas behind these games, like the heightened senses from a new location, or the anticipation from structured play, or exploring a different persona.
Yeah.
That understanding can be a really valuable starting point.
Yeah, for your own exploration or for talking with a partner.
Exactly. Open communication.
For sure. There are so many concepts here that could just spark your imagination, lead to new possibilities, even if you don't follow a game exactly step by step.
Right. Adapt them. Make them your own.
Yeah. So if any of these ideas resonated, maybe check out the book itself for more specifics or explore all the other games we didn't even get to today.
Definitely worth a look if you're intrigued. And maybe that raises one last thought for people to consider.
Yeah.
Now that you've had this little glimpse into all these playful possibilities, what's maybe one small step, one tiny thing you might think about doing to add a little more spice or novelty into your own connection?
Ooh, good question.
Or maybe which of these core ideas, location, games, senses, role play, sparked the most surprising aha moment for you? And what might that tell you about your own desires, your own comfort levels? Something to think about.